Lord.
Help.
Haba po ang report. And I believe yung first part po ng Psalm 44 is historical. Kasi nangyari na to sa past. If we would turn back to the book of Deuteronomy, sa chapter 9, verse 1 to 3, papasahin ko po. Nangyari na po to, I'm telling you dahil during the past, kung maalala nyo, when the Israelites are about to enter the promised land, God had delivered them from their enemies. If you would remember na before they have to enter, meron pong mga nagpadala po si Moses ng mga spies. And they had reported back that in that land there were giants. And so yung report, which is negative, kasi may mga giants sa land, and yet how could we conquer that land? But yung mga Israelites, because they had believed of the promise that they would be able to conquer as God had promised them, hindi nila pinakinggan yung mga bad report ng mga spies. Wherein considered na very credible.
Yeah, there were 12 spies, 10 are negative, and there are only 2 that are positive.
Yeah,
Ay, ano mangyayari dun sa 2 positive? Mahirap paniwalaan, di ba? Okay? But sometimes minority is the best.
Yes.
Diba?
Yes.
Majority.
Yes.
Tama.
So sa chapter 9, sa Deuteronomy, "Hear, O Israel, you are to cross over the Jordan today, and to go and to possess nations greater and mightier than yourself. Cities great and fortified up to heaven, a people great and tall, descendants of Anakim, whom you know and whom you have heard it said, who can stand before these descendants of Anak? Therefore, understand today that the Lord your God is He who goes before you as consuming fire. He will destroy them and bring them down before you, so you shall drive them out and destroy them quickly, as the Lord had said to
I
you."
said to you.
Amen.
Namuna yung fear, no?
Amen.
Pag namuna yung fear, mahirapan ka. That's why, but they had forgotten that God is bigger than those giants. No? Kaya kasi giant, kasi this is the promised land.
Exactly.
Ito yung this is the place of milk and honey, wherein everything is perfect. No, kaya lang, sorry to say, walang naka-enter doon because they were so fearful.
Yeah.
Pero kung pinaniwalaan nila yung dalawa who was bringing the good news, they should have entered. Pero hindi sila naka-enter ng promised land.
So sa Deuteronomy ito, historical din kasi sa Deuteronomy chapter 20 verse 1, it says na, "When we go to war against your enemies and see horses and chariots and an army greater than yours, don't be afraid of them," sabi ng Lord. "For the Lord your God who brought you out of Egypt will be with you."
Amen.
Amen.
So even if they were poorly armed and yet they were able to conquer the promised land later on, and considering na may mga giants nga doon, siyempre fear had the first time they were being paralyzed by their fear. So ibig sabihin medyo nag-lock
Giant
na
yung fear eh.
Yes, it is.
Fear is giant. Yeah.
So makikita natin doon sa Psalms that the first portion was historical dahil nangyari no sa past. And these people in this time of the book, the first portion, they were reminding God, saying na, "Lord, you were with us during those times. And how come na ngayon, during this battle, how come na hindi mo kami sinamahan?" And
So, hindi nila alam nandun rin ang Panginoon.
yes.
Sakala lang nila.
So there played yung ano nila, yung request ng Lord was rejected completely. And they have to retreat before their enemies, and that yung mga ari-arian nila were plundered by their enemies too. So pag makikita natin, there was a parang contradictory. During those past, even if sometimes the Israelites were like rebellious, nandun ang kamay ng Panginoon. So may nakita akong premise dito kasi during this time, their conscience was clear. They thought na wala naman kami kasalanan, Lord eh. And yet, bakit iniwanan mo kami during this time of battle? And so they argued with God. They said, "Why did you abandon us, especially when our conscience was clear and we have not wronged you?" We can see that sa verse 17, verse 17 of this psalm, "All this happened to us, true we have not forgotten you or been false to your covenant, O Lord." So verse 18, "Our hearts had not turned back, our feet had not strayed from your path." Wala naman kaming ginawa. Why did you dealt with us wrongly? naging mabuti kami, wala kaming kasalanan, and yet you had abandoned us.
Hindi nila nakikita yung hidden sin there. The hidden sin there is pride.
Yeah.
Okay? Yung pride ng tao na sabi wala man akong ginawa. Ganito.
Wala akong
That's
kasalanan.
really pride, you know?
Yes.
Just that.
Parang si Job, no? Parang si
Yes.
Job. Yung
Yeah,
sin.
and you know,
Sin
one
of
of the
pride.
deadly sin is pride.
Yes.
One of the deadly sin is pride.
Maayos naman ako.
So sa later portion of the chapter, they continually, but the good thing is they had continually supplicated God, saying na they were reminding God of His promise. Na sabi nila na Lord, dahil sa pagmamahal mo sa amin of your unfailing love, please redeem us.
Yeah.
They didn't lose. So nandun pa rin yung nila, yung hope nila sa Lord, knowing that God will redeem them because they have seen that in the past.
Yes.
Amen?
Amen.
And so, nakita ko pong lesson dito is we do often reason with God and argue. Kung minsan may mga troubles that comes our way, and when His dealings were inappropriate. Because we don't understand.
That's
Even
right.
if behind it, laging may purpose ang Lord.
Amen.
We say to ourselves, we don't deserve such chastisement or rebuke, Lord. Bakit nangyayari sa akin to? Sometimes we do experience mga bagay na hindi natin maunawaan. To the point even na sometimes we even raise our fist before God. Saying, Lord, why have you done this to me? Wala namang ginawa. Di ba? We reason with God. But then, we fail to realize sometimes that every ordeal, every trial
Amen.
was designed to humble us.
Yes. Amen. Amen.
We only had allowed us to go through fire para mag-shine po tayo.
Yeah.
Amen.
A gold has to go through fire para ma-purify at least 7 times. Hindi po magkakaroon ng kinang yung isang ginto pag hindi ma-purify yan. Even it is difficult, time-consuming, painful, and sometimes we do not understand. But we have to go through it.
Amen.
We cannot shine through God.
Shortcut.
Walang
Hindi ka
shortcut.
na proseso doon.
Lagi kong naisip to, kahit yung pearl sa oyster,
Takes time,
it
ha?
was
Very
actually,
painful.
it was warm because the pearl was irritated. Ay yung oyster sa loob, na-irritate siya kaya dahil na-irritate siya dahil merong impurity doon sa loob niya, nag-produce ta ng lac para ma-envelope yung impurity, tapos magiging pearl siya, tapos kikinang siya. And that was produced because of irritation. Sometimes we get irritated and we abandon.
Yes.
Diba?
You know when we don't understand, that's the most exciting part. When we don't understand. Kaya
Just
kung
trust, no?
Sa katagalan na ng pagka-Kristyano mo, you have to realize the ways of God. Kasi
Hallelujah.
yung ways ng
That's it.
Panginoon, He has higher ways than us.
Amen.
He has higher
His
thoughts
thoughts.
than us.
Ayan.
Kaya tayo, the more we don't understand it, that the best thing is to trust
Amen.
the Lord.
Amen.
Kasi hindi ka magkakamali if you trust Him.
Amen.
Ang nagdidepend.
And you need to be excited because after that, malalaman mo,
Yes.
yan pala.
Lord.
Yan pala.
Mag-learn. Hallelujah.
So my conclusion is, I
Parang gusto
believe
mo na
that
mag-report, ha?
every trial was intended to forge us into His likeness.
Yes, that's true.
Yes.
Yes.
Every trial was intended, no matter how difficult,
Yes.
how hard it is, whatever the enemy had intended for evil, the enemy may always turn out for good.
Amen.
For
That's
God.
true.
That's
Turn
the
it
word.
for good.
Amen.
So lahat po ng dumaring sa atin, it was always intended for our personal and spiritual growth.
Yes, right.
Amen.
Ang mali ng demonyo, he doesn't know that he intended for bad, no?
God will-
To destroy.
Hindi niya alam, lalo
Pero
lang
kung
siyang
niya
magiging
alam,
ano.
he become better person.
Amen.
He go through that.
Yes.
Doon siya mali.
Tuso man daw na paglalamangan din.
So while we are on that journey, while nandun po tayo sa pag-forge, yung pag-forging po is when pinupukpok tayo ng Lord, He's trying to form us into His likeness.